Wait, Debra, come back. I love the cookies. See, I love the cookies. As Lance Storm said earlier in this show, that's funny. Nobody appreciates a good laugh more than me. The entire invasion angle is just a hodgepodge of crazy ideas, wild, weird, wacky stuff, and I can't come up with any more W words, so let's just move on. I'm John Rantham with the retro review of WWE Smackdown from August 2nd, 2001, taking place in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, and man, boy, things were really goddamn weird in the wild, wacky world of World Wrestling Federation because it was still WWF for at least, well, just under another year. I think it was about like May 2002 that they finally changed to WWE because those damn pandas finally, overtook and basically were able to change them to World Wrestling Entertainment. And ever since then, it's been a slow, steady, steep decline. It's not even grammatically correct, but you get what I'm saying. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on this invasion angle in the comments and on this particular episode, because this was maddening in the sense that it was so bad it was good television. I think there was like maybe 20 minutes of matches, honestly, maybe 25 minutes. It was like a 91-minute long episode and so many promos, backstage segments, and Debra's cookies took up about 200% of the time. I know that's not mathematically correct or mathematically possible, but whatever. So we have recaps of Dwayne's Rock Hard Johnson laying out both McMahons while Stephanie watches Dwayne's Rock Hard Johnson right there. I'm going to keep saying terms like Dwayne's Rock Hard Johnson until I can't say it anymore and until I make this as uncomfortable as possible. Cole and Taz on commentary. Now, normally, they actually do good commentary. Unfortunately, here, all they were doing was bickering. It was like heel Cole and Jerry Lawler in 2011, except more people were watching at this point. So here's Kirk Angel, as Chris Jericho once called him. Talks about losing WCW title to Booker on Raw, but he won't cry about it. This is summertime in the city, and it's also the summertime song that Will Smith sang, and if you have that stuck in your head, you're welcome. So summertime is supposed to be fun. Okay, I guess girls aren't supposed to have fun. It's just summertime's supposed to be about fun. Cyndi Lauper lied to us. She lied to us. Burn the heretics. No, actually, I like Cyndi Lauper. She should be in the Celebrity Hall of Fame. Apparently, she doesn't want to be, and I don't kind of blame her, honestly, if that is the case. So what is he going to do? He's going to polish his gold medals. Please do that off camera, Kurt. At least he's not going to have any kind of beastie out anyway. That was 3 years later. They thought it was a good idea to turn that into, and to put that as a backstory of Booker T versus Kurt Angle. Even in 2005 would have been good. But no, they had to make Kurt a creep, and he didn't want to be a creep. I reviewed Judgment Day 2005. You want to take a look at it because I forgot that that's where the storyline culminated. And ow, it hurts. Doesn't hurt as much as some of the stuff in this invasion angle. He's going to learn how to surf, and he's going to beat Austin in SummerSlam. It's like beating off John Cena, which I think I remember right, but he's going to beat Austin's rattlesnake. Slap the venom out of it, and just keep slapping it around until the rattler just stops. It happens with guys his age. What is this review even? He then says, how you can do anything in this country. Do unmentionable things with a cigar and an intern and still be the leader of the free world. Funny. Actually, it is funny. I mean, it is. I mean, I'm sorry. It's funny. I mean, I don't care what side of political fence you fall. That's funny shit. That you can make jokes out of that stuff and everything. People have done far worse and far less and all this stuff. And so I've been scrutinized. But you know what? It was funny as hell. So then he says he'll snap Austin's ankle. And the USA will stand for You Submit to Angle. I mean, whatever. I mean, some people really can't spell, so they probably would have thought that that's how it was spelled. Pledge of Allegiance. He does that. Here's Lance Storm with the Canadian Maple Queef. I think I said that right. Apologies to any of my Canadian fans that are likely going to shred me in the comments and kill me on Twitter. But it's funny. I say it in jest. Trust me. We have a bald eagle as our mascot. I mean, as far as this state, but also the entire country. We're not exactly known for being very smart. So anyway, he's like, the only reason you won Olympic gold is because you didn't face a Canadian in the finals. Kurt, I actually did face a Canadian in the second round. It lasted for about a minute. Way to go, eh? Again, I apologize to any of my Canadian fans, but it was just impossible to, ignore that. And then Lance says, that's funny. No one enjoys a good laugh more than I do. It just Lance's stoic expression. Lance Storm was so underutilized in WWE. I mean, rewatching his stuff in the final year of WCW. I mean, he didn't show up until I think it was June or July. And had a really good run just for the last 8 months of the existence of that company. But he was a bright spot. Him and Booker T were two of the people where it's okay, this actually isn't that bad television, despite the fact Vince Russo was bound and determined to creatively bankrupt the company because the company was already going bankrupt regardless of what he fucking did. But yeah, Lance saying that Lance should have been utilized so much better. He was so good in the ring. And he's hilarious as fuck on Twitter. He's got a dry sense of humor, but it's really good. Anyway, he mentions healthcare and crime rates, especially the crime rates being high in Washington, D.C. And according to people I've talked to that have lived and been around Washington, D.C., they're not wrong. So anyway, Lance kicks Angle and leaves. We're going to have a match later. So Austin and Debra arrive, and Stasiak is telling him about Angle's promo, and he's like, man, I got my eye on you. And he's asking Debra, who the hell was that? He's in the Alliance. Debra didn't know who he was. Man, Vince hated Shawn Stasiak. He must have hated him because he left after being the gimmick meat, which I don't really understand how anybody thought that was going to work even in '99. And then he did pretty well in WCW, all things considered. I mean, nobody really could do great because everybody was creatively stifled because of the fact it was the dying days of WCW. But Stasiak and the Natural Born Thrillers, despite the fact below average Mike Sanders was there, they actually were a pretty decent group. They just couldn't decide what to do with him. And then pretty soon they decided to give him Plan Stasiak, which was hilarious with a great theme and really about it. Did Stasiak do anything after leaving WWE? I believe he got into some kind of like doctor work or something. And I'm not knocking the guy, but it's just like it's kind of weird. The guy looked pretty damn good. You would have thought a company could have done something with him. And yes, I know that he ruined the whole run-in thing at WrestleMania 17 because he mouthed off apparently in an interview that they were going to do that. And I don't blame Vince for being upset, but still, people have done worse, and he's still taking them back. So then we have the Hardys with Lita versus Palumbo and O'Haire, non-title match, and it was a different kind of matchup. There were a chance for Lita, as there should be. And commentary bickers. We get a twist of fate and a swanton. The ref distraction. What? Ref distractions and, interference and bullshit in the invasion. I'm shocked. Ow. I just wanted to do that again to make sure, that you guys understood that hurts. So, super kick from Palumbo. O'Haire rolls over. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Then The Rock arrives, and we go slam right into Jericho and Stephanie talking, and Edge and Christian point out, arrive, and Jericho's pointing out a mole that she has and everything, covered up by makeup. I mean, whatever it is, what it is. I got a fucking mole right here on my goddamn cheek. But anyway, it is what it is. Jericho always had good banter with Stephanie, and then they I did the kind of like it says, nobody likes to see you put in your place more than me. It's a good thing I would never say that about anybody in wrestling, about any women in wrestling. I would never say something like that. You stop commenting right now. You stop. I run a clean show, and I am perfectly innocent. And if you think that, you have not paid attention to the first 7 minutes of this review. Jericho and Edge Christian mock her and call her a trapezoid. I mean, okay, like Lady in the Trapezoid. Actually, I would have popped for that. So, Stacey offers Austin her cookies. Stop thinking about it. You know who you are. I know you're thinking about it. She frosted them herself. I'm going to make this as gross as possible, because why not? Then Debra's jealous because she sees, how Stacey's cookies are all over her husband's face. Moving on. DDP has a shrine dedicated to Sarah. It talks about how she's a bad boy or a bad girl and needs a bad boy like him. He licks the photo. He licks the photo that he has of her. Why did they do this to DDP? Genuine question. Why? Why did they do this? What the fuck? Why? Anyway. Oh, God, he blew the candle out and said we need some private time, and I'm gross. I need a shower after this. Canyon promo, who better? Man, I feel bad for Canyon. Poor guy. Really should have been utilized so much better. Just because he was gay, Undertaker had to beat him up. What was that, February 2003? That was comfortable. Anyway, but then again, lines with how, Taker views a lot of people. So Kane and Canyon, if you will, it lasts about 2 minutes for the U.S. title. Nick Patrick gets grabbed by Canyon and says, oh, DQ. And Canyon retains the title, but Kane wins by DQ. Kane is upset, says, okay, Nick Patrick, you used to be a wrestler. Ha-ha, boom. I don't think he actually laughed, but I would have popped if he did. And then Rock arrives. He's all clad in leather, and the people, pop for Dwayne's leather-clad Johnson. I'm just going to keep mentioning Dwayne's Johnson, because I'm going to make this uncomfortable for somebody. Even if it's me, I'm going to make this uncomfortable. So he talks about, it doesn't matter what kind of people you are. He came back for all of you people. Moving on. Slurpees and herpes and jerpies and clean and jerkies. He talked about all the various people and everything. By the way, did you hear about the couple that got, Valtrex for each other? His and herpes. So, why don't he says, he's going for payback on Austin. Why don't you come down and hug The Rock? Why don't you hug Dwayne Johnson? Told you I was going to work another one in there. And then Booker T comes here. He gets cut off. Rocky chants, "Who in the blue hell are you?" That's where I got the line, by the way, that I still use. "I'm the WCW champion, sucker." And then he says, "Well, what's my name?" "It doesn't matter what your name is. I'm not going to go through it." This is memorable because it's their interaction, but man, who in the blue hell are you? Way to cut Booker down. Is what Rock did, but still. And then Booker challenges him at SummerSlam. "What are you going to be there for? Does someone need to have their car parked by the building? Hi, 2003 Triple H. I didn't see you there." Fuck. Anyway, here's Shane to run down the Rock. Booker has gold. Rock doesn't. Shane says, "Hey, Rock, how about we have a match on Raw? A street fight." "Okay," Rock says. And then he'll get payback on Austin. Austin and Debra. Basically, I didn't eat the cookies. I faked every one of them because Austin just doesn't give a shit at this point. It's funny. Then Lance, basically comes in and says he's not going to leave much of Angle for Austin. He says, "Man, you're going to do great. I got my eye on you," and all this stuff and everything. I think he knew who Lance Storr was, but I honestly don't think he knew who Stasiak was. And again, it's a real shame for Stasiak. Dudley's and Rhino versus Edge and Christian and Jericho. Okay, it was fast-paced. It was like over in 5 minutes. Because we get a distraction. What? We get a distraction. Devon tops Jericho after Jericho was hit by a gore from Rhino. 1, 2, 3. Austin's upset. He's upset because he's not trying Deborah's cookies. Take that damn tray of cookies and get out of here. Debra shows up to have the crowd sample her cookies. Shoot my voice here. And then here's Austin. "What the hell do you think you're doing? Are you Betty Crocker? Is this a Debra show?" Man, Austin's just got his slapping hand ready. I'm not going to forget that, by the way, that Austin did that to Debra. And it wasn't the only woman he did that to. Why else do you think the other one went back to England? Just saying. You don't do that without having a reason. Even if you're a piece of shit, you don't have a reason. You don't do that without a reason. And Austin, one of the greatest of all time, and they ignored the DA stuff, or the DV stuff. So, DA works too. So anyway, Austin and Debra go back and forth, stealing the microphone, and his slapping hand is clenching in rage. "That is not how you talk to your wife." Well, we found out how he talked later, not ignoring that. And then she hits him with the cookie tray. "Wait, Debra, go back. I love it." She really waffled him with that tray. She really hit him. So no wonder he did what he did 8 months later. Got him a dick. And then he, was like, "I love the cookies." Oh, he's eating her cookies. He's eating his wife's cookies live on camera. Some people pay good money to watch that. I don't. Often. So, he berates Angle and Rock and then leaves to Jerry and Regal, wonder where The Undertaker is, because he's obviously looking for DDP. And then Angle and Storm. This would have been a good pay-per-view match. As it was, not a bad TV match. Aggressive, well wrestled. And Angle was bleeding from the eye. He fires up, hits the Angle slam in the ankle lock. Lance got him some good shots. And it was like 6 minutes, but it wasn't that bad. In fact, I would argue this is the best match of the night. And Taker and Sarah confront Regal. He's upset that it's non-title because he wanted to take everything from the black man. Undertaker thought that, even if he didn't admit it. God, if he was a black gay guy, he would have waffled him and whipped him a bunch. So anyway, tough enough footage of some guy that had Jackie upset. I actually didn't catch the guy's name and I didn't care because it's Tough Enough. And why would I care about Tough Enough? So, Shane fires up Booker and then says, "Oh yeah, I would beat up The Rock if he was still here." The Rock's still here. And then we have Taker with Sarah versus Booker with Shane. Taker dominates at first, and Booker takes over for a bit after Shane distracts him, and then this is a mess. He grabs Sarah at one point a little bit later, and it looks like Taker's about to win. And then we get a steel chair to Undertaker, and then big old glump. Rock comes out to rock bottom Booker, which he does, and Shane hits him with a chair, and Rock takes a really good bump and everything. Shane just launches himself into it. And then Shane pulls the ref out before 3, towel to the head, and then Shane gets mounted on the announcer's table where Dwayne has his Rock Hard Johnson right in Shane's face as he fists him brutally. And then another ref, but just 2, that was Charles Robinson. Alliance runs in as 2-on-7, but The Rock and Undertaker beat him up. Because why wouldn't they? Why would you want to have the Alliance seem like a comparable force? Anyway, let's have some fun with the next review. I'm going to continue to review this stuff, but by God, this show is maddening. Agree, disagree with what I said? Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.